Let's talk about 10, maybe 15 things that'll make people hate you and never want to play golf with you again. Now, of course, this list may be subjective, but I'm gonna try to be pretty objective with some of the things that most people hate. Maybe only I hate them, I don't know. Comment below, but if you comment, you have to subscribe. That's the law. Anyway, the first one is people that never scream four. That was perfect. With a lot of golf courses, just stuffing your tee times, having 15-second gaps in between golfers, well, there's gonna be a lot of golf courses that are stuffed to capacity. And because you're slicing it to the right and hooking it to the left, you're potentially gonna kill somebody on a golf course. Just because you wanna say four instead of actually saying four out loud. I think I hit the bunker. Just scream four out loud and everybody is fine. It's simple, it's not hard. Another thing that I can't stand is just kind of pretty blatant disregard for the golf course. Maybe not even disregard, just disrespect. I don't know if this is putting, but we're gonna practice some putting off the green today. But I always walk with the cart, right? Unless I'm playing with my friends. But if you're in a cart and the cart sign and the sign says, don't drive your cart up to the green, and you park it right next to the green, you're disrespecting the golf course. There were people that I played with once, two guys that they knew how to golf, they knew the golf rules, but they were just driving all over the course. Never playing with them again. Pretty good. But there are a lot of things that are just disrespectful, right? The course is trying to maintain itself and you're just out here driving all over the place. When it rained, I played with people, it was cart path only. And they were like, Dad, I'm not doing cart path only. I'm like, why? You're so lazy where you can't even walk off the cart path to get your ball. And now you're just ruining the whole golf course because you want to be a just don't do it. It's very simple. Park the cart on the side, keep it on the cart path, keep it on the rough at least, and go about your day. Things like smashing your putter on the green after you miss a putt, you should never do that. Things like tossing your putter and letting it land on the green, now you're making a big divot on the green, don't do that. It takes a long time to repair all this. Like if you're new to golf and you don't know the rules and you accidentally do something and you're like, oops, my bad, that's one thing. When you know the rules and you're just being a straight up, I'm never gonna play with you again. Comment below what other things are kind of just like straight up disrespectful to the course. Things like replacing your divot, filling in the sand, you should do that. I don't know if that's straight disrespect. I guess it is, if you're not at least filling in the sand. The debate on replacing your divot, that's one thing. But you should fix your pitch mark, and, you know, fill in the sand if you got sand, if the course does that. And do those simple things that are going to go a long way in just maintaining the health of the course. Whoop. Much better. It's a little short. I don't know what he said. I don't speak Spanish like that. I can understand it, but not that well. Uncontrolled anger, just being angry all the time. It is very exhausting to play with. Somebody that hits one bad shot that never practices all year, now they're throwing clubs, they're throwing a tantrum, they're slamming clubs. I mean, look, the saying that you're not good enough to be angry is partially true. We're all gonna hit bad shots, that's golf. It is inevitable, you can't avoid it, right? However, more than just you're not good enough to be mad, it's more along the lines of you're playing a game. Why be mad, right? You wanna be a vibe to be around. You don't wanna be the guy that is dragging everyone down and, you know, now I gotta wait for you to throw your tantrum to get over your tantrum so you can move on to the next hole. And then you're giving up halfway through a hole. It's just exhausting, you know? Now, of course, everyone gets mad and frustrated and angry, and that's just part of golf. But you gotta learn to control it and cope with it and just move on while you're playing. You know, don't drag everyone else around you. Now, of course, if you've seen my Breaking 80 series lately, I get mad. However, I move on and I get back to vibing out. I don't even know what number we're on anymore. I'm just kind of ranting at this point. But let me tell you a story. The other day I was at the gym and I'm doing machine cable flies. If you don't know what that is, go to the gym, learn about it. A dude comes over in jean shorts and you can tell this guy has worked out you know, has a history of working out. But it's not like he is ripped, buff. But he walks over, he makes me take my headphones out, and I'm like, all right, maybe he has something important to tell me. No, he's just like, hey, what's your name? Oh, you don't want to do cable flies. You want to do bicep curls before the cable flies, before the And he goes on a rant about, oh, good shot. He goes on a rant about proper working out and trying to tell me how to work out because he want to look good naked for people. Meanwhile, he doesn't look good in general at all. And I'm not asking for advice. I mean, look, if I'm doing something dangerous, yeah, you could stop me, tell me what to do, fix it, don't do something dangerous. But if I'm not doing nothing dangerous, I'm not asking for advice, don't give me any advice. Unless you are so good, right? If you're prime Arnold Schwarzenegger in the gym, you know, if I'm playing golf with Scotty Scheffler, Tiger Woods, Rory McIlroy, and they're like, hey, you should do this, okay, great. If you are so good, give that advice. But if we're just like playing on a Saturday, you know, playing on a Thursday, I don't know what it is, I don't want to hear your advice. Good putt. Because most of the time, most people don't know how to actually give advice and don't know what they're talking about. The most common advice you're gonna hear is people say, hey, you lifted your head up. But that's not advice. That is just saying what you're doing is not, one, lifting your head up is not the problem. It is a result of other things kind of happening in your swing. But telling somebody on the golf course, hey, you're lifting your, oh, that was a terrible putt. Hey, you're lifting your head up. Well, what am I gonna do with that information? Not lift my head up? Well, I'm lifting my head up probably because the person's casting in their downswing. If you are a certified golf pro, yeah, and you're giving advice and you know what you're talking about, cool. If we're just buds, just hanging out, especially if you're a stranger and you're just hanging out, I don't really want to hear the advice. That's just me. I don't need it. I'm not going to give it unless you ask it. And even then, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your golf swing. I'm going to tell you what to do mentally. Now, the number one thing that most people will hate, and it's pretty objective, is being slow. You should not be slow. Slow down, speed up your practice swings. You don't need to do a practice swing. You know, look at your phone. There are many things that'll slow down your pace, which I'm gonna talk about, but just don't be that guy. Like, I don't have a problem with a quick practice swing, but if you're playing with people, that's what you should be doing while they're about to hit. And I don't know who told you this, but you don't need to waggle the club stick right before you hit. It does nothing for you. Now, I know mentally we all have our little quirks and everything, but now, within being slow, there are multiple things that you can do that are going to slow down everybody that everyone hates, such as talking on the phone. If you're in the cart, cool, stay in the cart, talk quietly, move on. But if you are talking on the phone and then you still expect yourself to hit the ball afterwards and you're just holding everyone up, you're being an asshole and nobody will like you. Oh, I'm hitting all these thin low ones. Another thing that is going to slow down pace of play is taking too long to find a golf ball. Take more than 1 minute. Leave the golf ball alone. It's for the streets. You don't need it anymore. Let me show you. Now, I know you're thinking 1 minute, that's not long at all, but it is a long time. One, you should be trying to find your golf ball when you're moving up to where your golf ball landed. Let me show you 1 minute of looking for a golf ball. Leaf. If you're waiting for the guy that is doing this, you need to go hit your ball, come back for him, and move on. 2, 1. That was a minute. That was a long ass time. If you can't find your golf ball in that amount of time, obviously you either didn't watch it off the tee or the golf ball is gone. drop another ball, move on. If you knew it landed in the fairway and you can't find it, give yourself a leaf rule, knowing how a good rule of thumb is just play ready golf and you won't be that slow, ideally. So if we're standing over a putt and I got the long putt, they got the short putt, and they're waiting for me and they're like, oh, you can go, but they're already ready and I'm not ready. I don't even have my read yet. And I just walked up and they were going, we can just go. There's nothing wrong with going out of your turn unless you're playing with a bunch of snobs, which we'll get to. But just most of the time, play ready golf unless the golf course is like completely empty, and you'll be good. Not too much. Now, if you have a group, a good general rule of thumb to know if you're too slow, if you have a group behind you and you have no group ahead of you, you're playing too slow. Now, another pretty objective don't do is hitting into the group ahead of you. If you were doing that, that's an automatic go straight to jail, you know? One, besides obviously potential to injure somebody, it's just a kind of a dick move to do. If you accidentally do it, right, like you're hitting the best shot of your life, they're on the green is 300 yards, and somehow you pipe it 300 yards and it rolls under the green, well, they should congratulate you. But if they're like 200 out, you know your driver goes 220 and you're hitting into them because the pace of play is slow, why would you do that? How about you just go, you know, be a grown-up, speak with them and say, hey, can you speed up a little bit? Make sure that they're actually slow and not a group is ahead of them, but just don't be a dick. That's kind of the basic rules of everything we're talking about today is like, just don't be an asshole and you're good. That's to the left. Did not fade back. That is too fading. You overcompensate, you hit bad shots. That's why you don't overcompensate after hitting a bad shot. Anyway, before we go, let me say a few more things. If you were always late to a tee time, you're not getting an invite no more. And now if I tell you to arrive 20 minutes early and you're still 20 minutes late, there's no helping you. Also, if you go to a PGA event and you're yelling, get in the hole on a par 5,